All right, all right. What's up, everybody? This is Mike Byrd, and you are tuning in to the Sticky Side. Rob, I got Rob Chismark on the other side of this line over in Florida. What's going on, Rob?
Hey man, how are you? Not much going on, just trying to recover from a big week. You know how it is back home. Love it. Weather's different here. Kind of like it better, I'm not going to lie.
Hey, man. Well, today is our first episode of the Sticky Side, man. I'm pretty pumped about this. We talked about it. We were like, let's just do an episode, just me and you, tell the folks about us and, our experience in cornhole. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait to do this. And we've got guests lined up throughout the whole cornhole universe. And just seeing these people this past weekend at the Throwdown in Ventura, California, man, brought back some old memories. And, it got me more pumped, more excited to do this with you. So, yeah, Ventura was awesome, bro. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's the biggest cornhole tournament in the world every year it grows, it just still becomes the biggest. It's pretty crazy. This year there was over 900 teams. You saw the cross section of cornhole from mom and son who might not have been able to throw a bag all the way to world champions were out there, and that's what cornhole is about. And that's one of the things that I think you and I understand about cornhole is that it isn't necessarily about those super pros, but it is more about the moms and sons and dads and daughters and all the family that needs to join and keep this game growing.
Yeah, I agree, man. And that's one thing. I believe you touched on it, and the tournament director touched on it at the Throwdown in Ventura. We're talking about Spencer McKenzie's Throwdown. It's annual tournament for people that don't know, which I'm sure there's not that many cornhole players out there that don't know about this event already. But you and the other announcers out there, you touched on it. It's like a family, man. Because of the game, I've got friends in just about every state in the United States, and even met some players from Hawaii. So, I mean, I had no idea that cornhole was out in Hawaii.
That's still the United States.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
that's still the United States.
I mean, is it
not a whole other country? Just
what did I say? Did I say another?
It's not part of the 48, but no, you just said you said I got friends all over the United States and Hawaii.
Oh.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's
cool.
Nothing wrong. I do appreciate and respect Hawaii, even though I've never been there. Plan on it, not in the near future, I hope. But yeah. So there are players from other countries, though. I will say that. I have met some guys from Australia. Some killer drinkers, bro. They're the best people to party with ever.
Oh man, no doubt about it.
So before we get into ourselves, I do want to tell everybody out there that the cornhole world is like become so political, and I don't know, it's bipartisan. It's non-bipartisan. It seems like at times. So I mean, we are a show that's going to be non-biased. We're going to cut it to you no matter what organization you're talking about, whether it be the ACO, whether it be the ACL, the CCL, the Texas Cornhole League, TCL. I almost had a brain fart there and couldn't remember the damn acronym, Rob. Jesus Christ. But I don't know. What else is out there, man? Because I've been out of the game for 2.5 years. And in the 2.5 years I've been away, you're talking bag manufacturers went from like 5 to over 56. So I can't even imagine how many organizations are out there now.
It's tough. Not a lot of them are going to be national organizations. You named a bunch of what we would call the national organizations when you went through that list of alphabet soup. The fact of the matter is, just like you said, we're not going to take apart. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Mike. I'm an ACL pro. So if there are things that you need to talk about or that anybody needs to talk about that come from a different organization, I may not have the skinny on that kind of stuff. But when it comes to what's happening in the ACL, I got a lot of information, and I'd like to keep that information so don't throw me under the bus with all those other organizations too much. You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry, man. I got the other ones covered, man. Speaking of which, I do know like the ACO has a major coming up this weekend and next weekend. They have probably 30 plus majors scheduled.
Can I ask you a question about that? You just
Yeah,
called
I
that thing
mean that's
something.
what
You
we're
called
here
it a
for.
major. You call that a major.
They call them majors, man.
Majors. Okay. I like that. I mean,
Yeah,
how
well,
many people do they get there? How many people do they usually get there? Somewhere around 120, 145. Like, I mean, they populate those things very well. So it's one of the reasons they can call them a major. But when I think of like golf that has majors or
yeah,
tennis that has majors, they have like 4 a year, so it's like, it's major. And it's crazy when the ACO went to that schedule where they were making, it went from, they did only have 4 or 5 a year. And all of a sudden they were like, these are the ones where people come. So they started making a few more of them, and it seems to work out for their business model. But it's pretty cool that you can be a champion of a major, and no matter what anybody says, it means something when you can beat that amount of people, regardless of the situation or what people think the talent is, or anything along that nature. When you could go in there and you could dominate at a major, that's some serious stuff in the game of cornhole.
yeah. Getting back to what you were talking about, like each sport, golf and tennis. Tennis has Grand Slams. Golf has Opens. I
They
think
call them majors, right? Don't they call them majors in
I
golf?
think it's like the U.S. Open,
Right.
the
They are opens,
Open.
but the
Yeah, well, I
Open
guess they are
Championship.
major
Yeah.
events. There's like 4 or 5 of them a
Right.
year. I
Yep.
think when you call it a major, it brings the prestige to the event. But when you're having 31 of them, that's more like a regional to me. You know what I'm saying? And get
Absolutely.
I get the understanding behind having all these majors, because you're giving players the same amount of. You're giving players from all over the country the chance to earn the same amount of major points. Instead of regional points. It gives everybody a
Right.
chance. They're trying to give everybody a chance. But at the same time, you're taking away the prestige of that title. If you're giving people 31 chances to win a major, is that really a big deal? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you win
I
a
don't.
major when it's one of
I don't know.
four, so I taking it back because
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
big.
of people don't know who I am because I came back. My last tournament was in 2018 with the ACO, and I did win a major. I won a major with Brian Lynn in Charlotte, North Carolina, a doubles major. And at the
Don't
time,
tell anybody who you beat.
Jeff Reynolds and who was his partner? I can't
Okay.
remember his partner at the time, but maybe Jeff will listen to this and jog my memory. But I was ACO pro. I was an ACO pro from 2016 through 2019, but I didn't play. I just qualified pro in 2019, and that's where I got my experience. And I was also with the ACO as a certified official from 15 throughout the time I retired from cornhole the first time, and I was actually commissioner over the which was it the region with Kentucky in it. Yeah. So that's my background in cornhole, and you've been in it, as far as long as I can remember too. I remember meeting you in Florida. When was the first time we met? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was at
2016 major, probably in Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland.
I think
Okay,
that's where it was.
yeah.
Yep.
So tell everybody out
Yeah.
there a little bit more about you that doesn't know Mr. Rob Chismark.
Yeah, so I got started in the game, just playing the game back in 2015, and the only organization that was really available was the American Cornhole Organization. I also started as a certified official. I never got to be too far up there as a commissioner of any of their conferences. In fact, I kind of got out of it after the 2000, I think it was a 2017, could have been 2016 Lakeland, when there was where was the Jersey incident is what I like to call it. Jamie Graham was part of that. Jordan Camba, Trey Albright, a bunch of the guys that were superstars then that still continued to thrive in the game of cornhole. Big situation where the commissioner told me, go ahead and see how the church tournaments work out for you. And After that, I founded an organization, came to the American Cornhole League, became a regional director, moved up to be a conference director, been a conference director for 4 years, the Southeast Conference, which is Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. This year will be the first year, this first season, that I won't be the conference director here in the Southeast Conference, but I will continue to be the Florida State director. The way this game has grown, they're doing so many cool things with state championships and they're turning a state into a conference level tournament. So I became an ACL pro in 2019.
Who'd you pay off for that?
The American Cornhole League. I finished high enough to auto qualify as a pro the first and second year.
Oh, so there was no under the table money for
no,
your pro.
No. All over the table. All documented. Nothing. Cool. I didn't have to grease any palms. And I've been a pro since then, and I'll continue to be a pro as we move forward to 21, 22. And then, of course, you guys know all the things that I'm half owner of Boardman Cornhole. I do Talk Cornhole. I'm the sole host of You Got Robbed, which is a podcast that's seen on the American Cornhole League digital network. And then here we are right now co-hosting with one of the guys that, really when I first got into this game was very popular in this game. It's what I used to call him, Michael Byrd, but he's since changed his name to Mike Byrd. But now I'm co-hosting the sticky side, which we hope to get into some pretty sticky stuff throughout this next year. Just see what we can do in this game of cornhole together with Mike Byrd.
I'm excited about this. In 2020, it sucked for everybody for the most part. And I ended up having a lot of time on my hands working from home. And I decided to take up podcasting. And so I've got another podcast called Hammered. It's on my YouTube channel called the Naughty Donkey Productions. So, hey, be sure to go there, like and subscribe.
Check it out.
When you talked to me, I went to Rock Hill. What was it, about a month ago? Maybe a little less than that.
Yeah, for the championship.
For their championships. I wanted to give the ACL a shot. And, you pulled me aside and you talked to me about it because, I did some commentating back when the ACO first started doing their live streams. Myself and Toby Smith, who I believe he retired also from Cornhole, me and him used to do it. And I think me and you actually did some commentating too. And I like doing it, man. I just like talking anyway. But when you approached me with this opportunity, I was like, man, let's do it. And we both know a lot of players from back in the day that we could probably get on the show. And I was like, man, this is going to be a great opportunity, man. I think something good's going to come from this. But,
without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. And
I love some of your old time stories of the majors that you competed in and the guys that you see. I know because you had a lot of time on your hands, you were looking at your old TV stations, ESPN, throughout last year, and what you found was cornhole. And what you found personally was a bunch of guys that you saw that were in the finals on these ESPN broadcasts that you kind of said, man, I used to beat those guys. So I know it hit close to home for you as you were sitting there retired, knowing that there was a chance that maybe you should have been there.
Look, I'm not going to lie to you. And, me saying these names on this podcast, they're probably going to be rolling their eyes when they say Mike Byrd didn't beat me, but it's bullshit. I got wins over these folks. I did beat Eric Davis once at a regional back in the day. I have beat Jamie Graham a couple of times back in the day before he became lights out McGillicuddy, fucking bags of steel, Jamie Graham. Who else? I want to say that, no, I've never beat Frank Marlin. I've taken him to the end a couple of times, but I don't think I've ever beat Frank. But
taking him to the brink. How about Tyler?
Tyler
Poitras.
The last time I played Tyler Poitras, he beat me 21-0. He's always been a nemesis of mine. There's two players that I cannot beat. I don't care how hot I am, how on fire I am, or if I'm in the zone, I cool off somebody sprays me with a fire extinguisher every time I play Tyler Poitras and Leslie McKeever. I don't know if you know Leslie.
Oh, man.
I think
I
he's
do. He's an ACL pro.
ACL pro, but those two guys have
He
my
is.
number no matter what. I don't know if it's like a mental thing with me, but I can't get past them. And Tyler, he retired this year after his crazy shot on ESPN to get him and Frank into the doubles championship game, which they came up
That was
short,
awesome,
but
wasn't it?
still, yeah, that was pretty awesome. You know, a lot of people don't know this about me either, but I love cornhole, man. You take me back to 2013 through 18, man. I was a cornhole fanatic before it got all crazy. I was running tournaments here. I had one of the biggest state championship tournaments in North Carolina. I used to run all these local blind draws. I was doing 2 ACO regionals a month. And I didn't have enough on my plate, so I talked to Stacy Moore. And this was back when it was the ATL, I believe. What was
Right.
first? Was it CCL, then ATL, or?
Yes.
Okay.
CCL, ATL, ACL.
So I was a part of the ATL as a official, and I was running tournaments with the ACL or ATL back then. It's like if you go back to my membership, I believe I am member number 46. So that just goes to show you
Wow.
how far back I go with that. So, yeah, I was kind of shocked. But, yeah, I do remember I was one of the first ones to get the software. And, yeah, one of the first members of the ACL, like it or not. I'm here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. Stay there. Keep that thing active. Activate it again, whatever you got to do, because that's a
Yeah.
nice low number.
When's ACL season start up? This month,
The
right?
actual, it'll be October 1st, actually, this year. They moved it back from September 1st start. Last few years, it's been September 1st, but because of the way the championship worked out, they moved it back to an October 1st start, just to give some people some time to reset. And there's a lot more stuff that goes into it now with different bags and different pros that need to be accepted, different pro qualifiers that go on. I got a pro qualifier coming up September 10th and 11th in the Southeast Conference. So we get to do a conference pro qualifier where one more pro will qualify in each conference if somebody's there to run it. So we have ours coming up September 10th and 11th. You have to be a member of the Southeast Conference. You can come on out and qualify to be a pro.
So yeah, I'm not familiar with like how the ACL's qualifications for pro status goes. I know the ACO, and I'm not even 100% certain how they are right now, but it did go off like you had to finish like in the top 96 at Worlds, or you had to achieve a certain amount of points throughout the season. You know, that's how you qualify to be an ACO pro. The ACL, they have qualifier tournaments that you have to pay a hefty fee. Entry fee to get into, and then you can also earn them by the way you finish throughout the season, right?
Top 24 throughout the advanced standings, they will automatically qualify. So if you're in the top 24, you're there. They keep, because the pro and the advanced are so different. I don't know what it's like in ACO once you become a pro. I'm not quite sure if there's a separation, if they do different events, but with the pro division in the American Cornhole League, it's completely different. There's 256 recognized pros that were there for the 2021 season. So how that ends up going is the top 50 teams in doubles, they auto qualify, and then the top 100 singles auto qualify. Now, if you double qualify, that's just how it works. You double qualify. And then from there, they go to they did have pro shootout that happened, and I believe they took 34 people from the pro shootout that happened at the end of Worlds. And then they're going to take another 14, because there are 14 conferences, 14 of the from the conference pro qualifiers. And then they do have an application process that they go through as well.
So like if I wanted to, like if I was a former ACO pro and I wanted to apply for a pro status, instead of having to earn one throughout a season, you can fill out an application online, and the powers that be will look that over and say yes or no.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
you definitely have to build a resume and things along that nature just to prove that you have what it takes, the qualifications to be a pro. They're not just going to take anybody, but they are gonna take into consideration everybody.
Well, I mean, I tell you too that when I went to Rock Hill to play in the Worlds, uh, so I talked to Trey on Messenger and was like, "Hey, they got me in advance. Is that right?" And Trey knocked me back down to competitive because I had been out of cornhole for 2.5 years. So I was thinking, I went in there with the mindset of, okay, competitive. This is going to be like a step above backyard throwers. I think I'm going to do all right. Uh, I can't complain. I finished 6-2, I believe, but man, the caliber of thrower that's out there now, it's not like it was in 2012 through 2018. Towards 2018, you could see it getting better too at blind draws, but like when you go to a tournament back in the day, you could just look all the players that were entered and know who's going to finish in what position. It's very seldom you get an upset where
Right.
a mid card thrower is going to beat an elite thrower. You just know, but now there's so many great to elite throwers out there. Um, it, I considered myself when I was at the top of my game as a pro. I considered myself like a mid card pro. I could never cross that line to get me to great or elite status. I was always
Right.
good enough to get like a 3-2 finish or a 4-2 finish, but could never go the long haul. I always choked. I call it chokezilla. I'm the master of that.
The long haul is a long haul, and what you'll notice now, I don't I don't know what you noticed in the competitive division, but these days these kids, man, it's like it's become such a younger game, right? I've got all these people that are like, can we make this adults only? Can we, you know, they have a lot of these blind draws are at bars are like, can we make it a 21 and over crowd? And
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. The kids, because of maybe because of what happened over 2020 and the COVID and everybody being away from everything, they had a time to get in their backyard and just throw bags and become something that they may not have always become because they had some things that they had to do. You and me as an adult, we got things we got to do. So not every day can we throw for 6 hours, but it seems like these kids were just tearing it up, man. Like one of the segments that you definitely wanted to do was who the heck are these people,
Yeah.
right? As in 2.5 years, you've seen the top names. Yeah, the top names are still up there, but you've seen the top names change, since then. Now there's a bunch of young people playing in those top divisions and doing very well.
Well, we're going to start that segment. Who the heck are these people? And these two boys are going to have their own segment too, because at the
Yeah,
Spencer McKenzie's Throwdown, those Gore twins, my God,
yeah.
bro,
Twin Terrors, they call themselves.
the what? The Twin Terrors?
The Twin Terrors.
Look, man, I pride myself back in the day of not losing to the kids. Okay, I I told myself I would never lose to the kids, and there was always a couple of the North Carolina. You had Bobby Morse Jr. At the time, I think he was 10 or 11, and he was throwing lights out. There was Kobe McGeever. He was a little bit older, maybe 13. I tried not to lose to those kids, man. I just couldn't. I always told myself, don't lose to the kids. Those two they're great cornhole players in themselves. Much respect for them. But man, these two 12-year-olds, I took a picture of the left-handed
Unreal.
one holding the bags. He had 3 bags in one hand and the other one in his left hand, his throwing hand, and the bags looked bigger than his face. Like he just didn't look real holding these bags. And he threw them. He was
he's
throwing them all straight and in the hole. Like,
Yeah, he's definitely when he gets on fire, that kid is unbelievable, dude. When he was up on the main stage, he threw three or four baggers in a row that just kept them in the game. There was a couple of times where they were down, and that kid all of a sudden just flipped the switch. And you're 12 years old. How do you know how to flip a switch? He flipped the switch, and this kid was just throwing bags down the middle and in, down the middle and in, down the middle and in, hitting everything. If you put a block on him, he didn't even look like he was changing anything. Hit that airmail, and then he called for the crowd like Hulk Hogan. He said, "Hey, hey, hey!" It was unbelievable, dude.
That's what got me, because young kids, they don't care. If an adult did that, you would be like, look at this pompous ass, you know. Nobody gets into that with adults, but the kids, I got it, man. There was one point, I don't remember who they were playing. I don't think it was Cody Henderson and Adam Hisner. It might have been the game before that. They took the timeout, and I couldn't see. It looked like they met in the middle of the court, and the cameras weren't on them. So people watching the live feed couldn't see what was going on. But I can just imagine, because they took that timeout and got their shit together. And when they got back to their sides, they ended up coming back and winning that game. They were down big time.
It was nuts, wasn't it? It was nuts. It was like they were down like 18-6 or something like that, right there. It was crazy. Dropped one of my AirPods. Gotta love that when that happens. Sorry about that.
Too intense talking about the Terror Twins.
them twin terrors, boy. And you know, their parents are good people, and they hang out up there, kind of in your stomping ground. They're up there somewhere in North Carolina.
I want to say they're in Western North Carolina. You know, out towards Charlotte somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
they can.
The best kids I've ever seen play cornhole, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any kids better than that. I mean, they beat Cody Hisner. They beat Greg Vasha and Elvis Orr. Okay, so these guys aren't scrubs, bro. I'm telling you.
Right.
Not a whole
Greg
lot of teams.
Vasha and Elvis Orr. You just gave a lot of the older people in the game, the ones who haven't been around in a while or have been. Greg hasn't played in a tournament organized in probably as long as you.
Yeah.
So to see him out there and be on the main stage in that position, to me, was just like, you know, cornhole doesn't escape you. You don't lose it because you left it. You know, it doesn't leave you just because you left it. So it's crazy to see him up there.
Yeah, man, and it was good. It was good to see him. Good to see Elvis, and Elvis hasn't lost a stroke either, man. I mean, he was. I watched him throw against Trey Birchfield in the blind draw on was it Friday, and God, man, four-bagger after four-bagger, he was dead up the middle. But
isn't that nice to see, though? To see those guys come back and still be good at it. I wonder, you know, I always wonder what they thought. I asked you that when you said you were coming back. I said, you think you'd be able to compete with the kids? And you were kind of like,
not if they're all like the Gore twins. I don't want to ever play them.
Right.
Good God.
Right. Wait till you see some of the other ones. The kids. I always mess around with Jake. Jake's the little guy. I always mess around with Jake, and I call him Alex Hicks. Alex Hicks is 11 years old. And he auto-qualified. He was the number one player in the nation after all the pros were taken out of the top 24. Alex Hicks was the number one player in the entire nation. 11-year-old kid, auto-qualified. So, you know, you see these kids and you're just like, man, they're the best I've ever seen. And then there's other parts of the country where they're still best-er. Yeah. You know, I love the Gores. They are the best, but they're still best-er. And I love the team chemistry. I love the fact that they're like Wonder Twins. They become the form of a winner and the shape of a champion. These guys are they're unbelievable to watch do what they do.
The ACL, how do they work that with the juniors? I mean, do they have a juniors division?
Well, they are allowing 8 people under the age of 18 to be pros. That's what the cutoff is. 8 out of the 256 can be pros. Now, they're not allowed to play for any of the big gambling type money stuff, the shootouts and things. Mm-hmm. So the kids won't be allowed to play for that. They'll be allowed to play for the regular purse that you have at each of the nationals and at Worlds, but they won't be able to play in the shootouts or some of the other side game stuff. Okay. So 8 of them, and they have to auto qualify or qualify by application. So auto qualify, such as Alex Hicks, he's like an automatic. He's gonna take up one of them spots regardless.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how that worked, if they were able to compete for big money. Like if let's just say the Gore twins make it to the doubles ACO championship finals, are they eligible for that? Or
they are.
You don't see like other kids competing against other professionals in other sports, like in golf.
Right.
Yeah. Or tennis. But I guess cornhole's one of the only sports.
Tennis, you do. Tennis, they get really young. Jennifer Capriati was a 14-year-old Open champion, or what do you call them? What would you call them in tennis?
Yeah, I think it's open.
She was very young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
she was a champion, and when she was 14, and she came back when she was 16. So yeah, and the Williams girls, they've been at it since they were 16.
Well, here
So
you can tell who the
tennis is
tennis
one of the
fan
sports
is.
that they allow that.
You can tell who the tennis fan is and who is not the tennis fan.
Not necessarily the tennis fan, but
yeah.
But they are the juniors are allowed to compete at the pro, at the highest level in tennis. Yeah. And they're allowed to compete at the highest level here. They're just limiting it to the eight juniors a year.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the Gore boys up there in doubles and in singles. The singles is going to come down to them two probably at some point. Who knows?
That'd be crazy.
Seen crazier stuff.
It's so funny when you talk to them, because they have this little bit of moxie, this little bit of swag, and when you hear them or you talk to them and ask them who's better, they're going to tell you, and neither of them say the other.
Yeah, I know you tried to interview them a little bit after their match. It was one of the matches they won, and they weren't as excited in front of the camera or the microphone as they were like feeding into the crowd and getting the crowd pumped.
Right.
Yeah, they're like WWE miniature cornhole wrestlers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And I do equate a lot of the way the public sees these guys as somewhat performers. Somewhat. They call it sports entertainment. I call cornhole a little bit of sports entertainment, and we do have to add some of the entertainment. A lot of our best players, they step back when it's time to entertain. But they have an opportunity. I don't believe they understand the opportunity they have to be out there and be entertaining. I had a nice long conversation with Trey as we were during the crew competition over there at Spencer McKenzie's. So I was just talking, doggone it, these doggone AirPods just keep falling. So, but as Trey and I were talking, I was explaining to him that he does perform robotically almost, but the fact of the matter is, when he has an adoring public, and it wouldn't be so bad to address them every once in a while. In such a way, he's very respectful all the time, quiet, respectful, awesome, and it would do him well to talk a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we'll have to do a show on the personalities of cornhole, because there's some people out there, that are louder than life, and then there's some that are really quiet. One thing I would love to see is the Gore boys just go up there on main stage and just rip their shirts off like Hulk Hogan and point to the sky and do the poses and what you gonna do, brother, when the Gore twins run terror on you. That would be great, man, just to let them go.
That would be awesome.
All right, man. So you got anything else, Rob, before we sign off of episode 1?
No, man. I'm real excited to start this journey, to get this thing going, just to get some of the information that we have in our heads out there to everybody. And I'm real excited for some of the guests who have already kind of soft committed to us. We got a heck of a lineup coming for you throughout this year, and with our contacts and our abilities to book some people, I think it's just going to be incredible for you and me, and incredible for the cornhole world just to tune in every once in a while and check us out and see what we got to say.
We're not giving out any spoilers, but we've got world champions that said they're coming. They're going to be on the show. We've got elite pros. We got celebrities. I'm telling you, the sticky side is where it's going to be at this season for cornhole. And I want to thank Rob for being a partner in crime on this. We're going to have a good time doing it. And, hey, Rob, stay safe over there in Florida, brother. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Sticky Side, coming to you soon. Peace.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Cause we all just wanna be cornhole stars, staying deep, ourselves and driving beat up cars. The crowd gets crazy and the beers ain't cheap. We get drunk all day, so we just don't eat, and we hang out at the local bar, throwing bags in the hole like we have radar.